بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. عرض سلام و وقت بخیری دارم و خدمت تمام اشتراک کنندگان کورس اساسات برنامه‌نویسی با پایتون و یا Introduction to Python Programming. تشکر میکنم از تشریف آوری هر یکتان و همچنان عرض سلام و وقت بخیری دارم خدمت استاد محترم دکتر سیب بکتاش و بزرگانی که به جلسه تشریف دارند. کورسی را که ما قرار است امروز شروع میکنیم تحت نام اساسات برنامه‌نویسی پایتون می باشد و این کورس توسط استاد محترم سید محمد رضا که استاد والنتیر انستراکتور به امریکن یونیورسیتی اف افغانستان می باشد تدریس خواهد شد و این کورس قرار است که موضوعات بیسیک و یا فاندامنتال آف پروگرامینگ با استفاده از زبان برنامه‌نویسی پایتون کور کنم و موضوعاتی که قرار است این کورس بحث شود دیتا تایپ ها و ریبل ها و همچنان کامپاوند دیتا استرکچر ها، کاندیشنال استیتمنت ها، لوپ ها و همچنان فانکشن ها می باشند. جزئیات بیشتر درباره کورس درباره کانتنت کورس استاد محترم بر شما ارائه خواهد کرد. ما وقت شما را بیشتر نمیگیریم، از استاد محترم دعوت میکنیم سید محمد رضا کورس شروع کنه و آرزوی موفقیت دارم.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zaribjoya. This is Sayyid Mohammad Reza, and we will have like two sessions. First session will take around like 30 minutes, and then we will have like 5 minutes of break, and then we will continue and resume our program. So let me share my screen. Is it visible for you? Just if it's visible, can you confirm? Okay. So my name is, as I mentioned before, my name is Said Mohammad Reza, a junior data analyst and data scientist, and a volunteer instructor at one of the education clubs at the American University of Afghanistan. In today's session, we will cover some basic and fundamental concepts about Python programming language. Also, I want to like explain some of concepts in Farsi or Dari, so you can have or you can understand the main concept behind each like keywords in Python. So also I will explain some of the tools that you can run your code on them. So also I want to divide, since like the fundamental for Python is not like one session like lesson, so I want to divide.
Sorry, there is no screen for the audience. Your screen is not visible.
Just let me window entire screen. Okay, now it should be visible. Yes. Is it visible? Okay. So let's get started, and in this presentation we will cover the introduction, hardware and software, how program store data, and how a program works using Python. As we know that computers can be programmed, and that's a good news, and like computers designed to do any job that a program tells them, and like program is a set of instructions that the computer follows to perform a task. Consider an example in Farsi. مثلا یکی از فرض مثال معلم و شاگردهای خود میگه که فردا امتحان است و شما باید از درس بخونین و تمام لکچرها را ریویو بکنین. و شاگردها هم وقتی که به خانه میرسن آنها شروع به درس خواندن میکنن. در اینجا یک افهام و تفهیم شد بین شاگردان و معلم. به همین شکل کامپیوترها هم توسط همین پروگرام ها آنها افهام و تفهیم میشه بینشان، بین انسان ها و کامپیوتر. بنابراین وقتی بخوایم پروگرام رو تعریف کنیم بگیم که پروگرام is a set of like instruction، یک دسته از دستور عمل ها است که کامپیوتر آنها را فالو میکنه تا یک وظیفه را انجام بده. Who are like programmers? Like you are the programmers, like a person who can design, create and test computer programs. They're called like programmers. What is the difference between hardware and software? Hardware like that we can like physically touch devices of a computer. It's called like hardware. And some of examples of hardwares like main memory, like secondary storage device, input and output device. Input and output device can be like keyboard and mouse. The input for the input one, we can say that keyboard and mouse, they are an example or examples of like input devices. For the output, our screen can be an example of the output device. So what is the CPU? It is also called like central processing unit, and it's the part of like computer that actually run the program. And it is also, we have the microprocessor that CPU locates on small chips. It locates on the small chips inside the CPU. So the central processing part of a computer, it's called CPU, just where the program runs, and then you will get the execution or the output. There are like some definition about the RAM and main memory that I don't want to like waste time, since they are not too relevant to our topic. I just want to explain the concept of Python. So we can accept these points or these topics. I just mentioned the input and output devices. What are these? As I mentioned, that keyboard and mouse, they are examples of input devices. And the output device, similarly. So let's start from storing numbers. Like in computer does store the values or number, everything in two values. It's called like bit, which is 0 and 1. So computers only know the binary numbering, which is 0 and 1. It does not have a specific, for example, storage for like storing characters such as A, B, Z until Z. So it converts everything to 0 and 1. So it is how it works. So let me just, here is an example of how it works, like the main memory and CPU. Some of the steps that we like take in order to like execute the program, or it is how the program works. It is really important to know the story of the languages and like computer languages. We have like machine language. Machine language, they are like 0 and 1. They are the basic like programming languages that humans they used before, like invention of like assembly language and high level languages. After machine language, we have assembly language. And assembly language uses like short words for like instruction instead of like binary numbers. Remember that we used like binary numbers in machine language, but assembly language is much more uh, clear than the binary language, and it's easy to learn than binary language or machine language. Let me just show you an example of like how assembly language was. So we go here. As you can see, it is not like 0 and 1. It's much more uh, clear. We can get the concept of them. But still, it is not a high-level language. So Uh, so also we use assembler to translate the assembly to machine language. As we mentioned that only like computers only know the machine language, so we need a translator in order to translate everything to the machine language. So in this case, for assembly language, we have like assembler to translate the assembly language to machine language. And then the high-level language and low high-level language like invented by by programmers. An example of like low-level language, as we mentioned, that it is assembly language, and it is close in nature to machine language. It's quite difficult than high-level languages. What are the high-level languages? They allow like simple creation of power and complex programs, and no need to know how like CPU works and write like large number of like instruction. That's the ability like of like a high-level language, which like Python is an example of like high-level language. It is really like easy for humans to learn. It is near to or it's close to humans language. So what are the keywords in programmings? Like keywords, like they are like predefined words that used to write like program in high level language. Predefined words such as we can say like print, for example, print function, or uh, operators. They are like predefined words for programming. They have that kind of like um, predefined words, and they understand what like they mean. Also, we have like operators to perform operation on data. Operators such as like equal sign, such as bigger and smaller. Then that we will do it like practically in this live session and discuss it in Python language. Syntax similar to humans language. We have like syntax in programming as well. For example, let's consider in English, we cannot use he do, for example, go to school. It is wrong, right? Instead of do, we should use does. So similarly, in programming languages, there are some like syntax uh, defined that we have to follow in order to run a program. Otherwise, we will get like some errors that our program cries, and we have to like edit our program and fix the issue. In a statement, individual instruction used in high-level language, each, for example, line can be considered as an step. So compiler and interpreters. Remember that for assembly language, we had assembler in order to translate the assembly language to machine language. For high-level language, we have compilers and interpreters. So what are the difference between compilers and interpreters? For compilers, we can say that it's just first translate everything or our program to machine language, and after finishing the translation, it execute the code. But for the interpreter, it it just uh, like translate each line or line by line into machine language and then execute the code. Let me just give you an example, a real life example. Suppose that I know, for example, for C, okay, just let me see. I know, for example, let me just write the title, compiler versus interpreter. خب فرض کنین که ما فارسی میفهمم و یکی از دوستهایم اسپانیایی میفهمه، ولی من اسپانیایی نمیفهمم. من نیاز به یک ترنسلیتور دارم تا بتونه بر من ترنسلیت بکنه. یکی از دوستهایم هم اسپانیایی میفهمه، هم فارسی میفهمه. بنابراین ما تمام متن‌های خود را چیزی که میخوایم بگویم برای دوست اسپانیایی میگم، مثلا سلام و تمام اینا رو وقتی که میگم، دوست اسپانیایی ما چی میکنه که تمام از زیر اول ترجمه میکنه پیش خود، تمام سخنهای ما رو ترجمه میکنه و مثلا با رفیق اسپانیایی ما چیزی نمیگه. و بعد از اینکه ترنسلیشنش تمام شد، تمام متن میده با دوست اسپانیایی ما که یک نوع از این میتونه یکی از اگزامپل های کامپایلر باشه. و on the other side we have interpreter. Let's consider another example for the interpreter. Similarly we have like ما میفهمم مثلا فارسی، دوست میفهمم اسپانیایی و یک دوست دیگه ما میفهمم اسپانیایی میفهمم، فارسی میفهمم. ما وقتی که هر جمله‌ای که من میگم، هر جمله‌ای که من میگم، دوست اسپانیایی ما مستقیم مو جمله فارسی ما را به جمله اسپانیایی ترجمه میکنه و میتشه به دوست اسپانیایی ما. امی یکی از مثال های اینترپریتر میتونه باشه که ما قبلا ذکر کردیم که اینترپریتر لاین بای لاین است، یعنی لاین با لاین ترجمه میکنه، خط با خط ترجمه میکنه و او را اکزیکیوت میکنه و یا هم میته به پروسسور. و اما یک دیفرنس هست بین کامپایلر و اینترپریتر. در اکثرا ما سر کار با اینترپریتر داریم که لاین بای لاین ترجمه میکنه. We have like source code. They are like statements written by programmers, and they are like they avoid like syntax errors. They are just an structure that should be followed by the programmers. This is how like an interpreter works. It gets the program from the high-level languages and then convert it to the machine language and give it to the CPU. As we mentioned, a real-life example. It can be the Farsi, and the interpreter can be our friends who knows like Spanish in Farsi, and then it's translated to Spanish and give it to our Spanish friend. So in order to use Python, we have to install Python uh, into our computer. One way is to use the desktop application of Python. A desktop application, it can be Visual Studio Code, it can be Jupyter Notebook, it can be PyCharm, and so on and so forth. Let me show you how it works. For example, I have Jupyter Notebook inside my computer. Just I want to open the Jupyter Notebook inside my PC or personal computer. As you can see, it is how it looks like. So I recommend you to use Jupyter Notebook for this class. My colleagues will provide you some links in order to follow the instruction. But just how it works, we come here and select a new Python tree. If you select it, it generates a new notebook for us in order to and we can run our codes inside it. If you cannot install the Jupyter Notebook on your PC or personal computer, we have an alternative way to do that. You can simply type Jupyter Notebook Cloud, and it's flexible. If you have access to the internet, you can use this version. It is online and it's flexible. You don't need to actually install anything in your PC. Also, all libraries are installed in your cloud version of Jupyter. After entering the website, I can click to the new notebook, and it will create a new notebook for me. I can rename this, for example, file to Femtech. It is better to rename your program before running, so you will know what notebook is this. I can write the program and then run it in here. There is an option that you can run the program. So it ran the execution was successful. I can add more cells or more lines of code to my program. So it is an alternative way that we can use for running Jupyter Notebook. But if you don't have the access to the internet, so it will be quite difficult for you to work with Jupyter Notebook. So you can have both, the offline version and the online version. The online version, you don't need to install it on your PC. You just type on Google that Jupyter Cloud Notebook. It will appear, and then you can have it. If you don't have the PC or personal computer with you, we have an alternative way that you can run your code, and that's Solo Learn. It is an application that you can download through your App Store or Google Store. Just type Solo Learn, and it will appear. Its logo is like this, right? Its logo is like this, and you can learn from many courses or benefit from many courses like Python, HTML, SQL, and so on and so on. Also, in here, there is an option that you can write your codes in any language. It can be in Python, it can be in JavaScript and Java. So I recommend you to download this application as well. It is free. It is free, but uh, if you want to have an advanced level, you have to pay for that. But you don't need to do that. And also, it provides some challenging challenges for you, so you can solve the problem and also even share your codes with your friends uh, and also like comment on uh, the codes that others publish. So uh, so you can use or run the Python code on your PC or personal computer. You can use the online version, and you can use it on your mobile phone. So let's uh, uh, let's start another topic. In this topic, in this presentation, we actually start about a Python program where we will discuss the functions and variables and some comments. Also, we will go through the for loop and if condition. So just let's take a like 5 minutes of break, and then we will come back at I don't know what time is there, but we will come back at probably 8 8 o'clock. So let's get into like Python language. So like let me see. Okay. Uh, so we can use the flowchart for like defining or like drawing the steps of a program. It is not mandatory or necessary, but like some programmers to use in order to like define the program. For example, here is the start of the program. The start uh, will be the like giving an input from the like users related to their like hours worked. Also, after that, we get an input from their pay rate, and then calculate the pay as hour, and then return their payment. So, uh, like programs or programming includes three processing: the input, the output, and the processing. After inputting, the computer process our program, and it generates an output. So, uh, like, what are the functions? Function like piece of per-written code that perform an operation. Like print function was an example is an example of our functions that they are like predefined. Not only print function, but we have other functions that we can use. For example, int, which is integer, we can use it for converting the float or عدد عشری با عدد صحیح بخوایم وقتی که تبدیل کنیم عدد عشری رو به عدد صحیح ما از فانکشن و هم تابع end استفاده میکنیم. شما وقتی قسمی که میبینین در اینجا اینتیجر عدد عشری و یا هم فلوت تبدیل شد به عدد صحیح. So it is the main concept behind the like functions. Print function was an example of like how functions like work. So we have string. String, they are like sequence of characters یک رشته از کاراکترها می باشه که مثلا A, B, Z until Z و in order to define the like strings use like single and double quotations. For example, in here you can consider this like hello, which is a string. If we want to like see the type of, for example, hello, I click it generates str, which is for string. Comments are really useful for like notes of like an explanation within a program. In Farsi we say like comments, they are like توضيحات or extra information about our program. Mostly like programmers, they use like comments in order to explain it. For example, this code generates or is for those who want to run their program in Farsi. If I run this comment, it does not generate anything. The interpreter skipped this part. It's just for like explanation. We cannot write like this. If we run it, it generates an error. So in order to avoid that, we want to just add an explanation which does not count to our program. It's like the interpreter will like accept like skip this part of program. So we use for example, I mean like comments or توضيحات. We can use like even the Farsi text or any other languages inside our functions. For example, I can write salam. Sorry. Okay. We can do that. It is fine, but we cannot like write the like program keywords in Farsi. It should be only in English or the way that they are. If I write the function like this, it will like generate an error for me. So be careful with the predefined like words. Be careful with them. Try not to use like them in Farsi, but for a string or for text, this is fine. If you use it in Farsi, it doesn't really matter. So this is how like comments work. We use a slash character in order to use a comment or توضيحات in our program. So what are the variables? We use variables to store the values in the computer memories. ما variable ها را یا متغیرها را استفاده میکنیم به خاطر از اینکه یک value و یا هم یک ارزش در داخل حافظه کامپیوتر ما ذخیره کنیم. یک مثال در زندگی ما میتونه باشه. اگر سوال باشه، سوال اول، افغانستان در کدام سال استقلال خود را گرفت؟ و من از شما بپرسم که سوال اول چیست؟ شما میگین افغانستان در کدام سال استقلال خود را گرفت؟ بنابراین امی سوال ما که افغانستان در کدام سال استقلال خود را گرفت در وریبل و یا هم در یک متغیر تعریف شده. میتونه که مثلا حتی یک باشه یا A باشه یا الف باشه، کدام فرق نداره. Like in computer we have similar thing. It's called variable that we store our value in the computer. Sorry. A value is stored in our like.
He is disturbing us. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Why? What's happening?
Can you tell him? Can you tell him off her mic? She's disturbing us.
Dear colleagues, can you like see who is unmuted, and can you mute them? Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and like define some variables and see how it works. For like defining the variables, we use the assign operator or assignment operators. Here is the variable name. We write the variable name in here, and then the value on the right side. The name will be on the left side. The value will be on the right side, and we use the assignment operator in order to allocate or define a variable. So let's consider an example in here. So we have something like, let me just change the name. We have width, which is called like rs, which is 10. And we have another variable. Let me just add another line, which is called length. Length is equal to, for example, 5 or 5. So as you can see, we define two variables. It is the width is called like the name of the variable. It can be anything. It can be anything, but there are some rules that you have to follow. For example, you cannot use like integer at the first like character in our variable. We cannot use that. For example, if I write it like this, and for example, call it like this, it generates an error because we are not allowed to use, for example, the integer at the first like character in our like variable's name. But we can use the integer in the middle or at the end of our like variable names, right? So it is possible to do that. Also, it is not allowed to like use other like special characters, for example, special characters as at the beginning of our variable name. If I run it, it gives me an error. It is not allowed to, for example, use special characters at the beginning of our variable. But it can be like underscore. Underscore is fine. It is the only special character that we can use for like defining our variable's name. The variable name, like it doesn't really matter what is your like variable's name, but it is better to like write some like sensible or like understandable like variable names for your variable, since when you want to run it, so you have the knowledge of what does it mean. As you can see, one of the benefits of variable that I can use it as many times as I can. I can just write the variable's name and I can use it as many times as I want, since it allocates a memory inside in our like Python program, or in the computer's memory, right? So it is how it works. And let's go to another. So I mentioned that we use the assignment operator in order to define a variable, and I explained some rules in order to define a variable name. Right. Here are some rules that you have to follow. You cannot even put an empty space. For example, in here, if I want to define a new variable, for example, good, I cannot add an space for defining the variable. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be any space like between them. But I can use the underscore or some other like special characters in order to define the variable. So we discussed the variable naming like rules. So let's go to another. So displaying multiple items with the print function, we can like display or like generate multiple items using like print function. Functions, they are like topic. It takes a value or a variable, and then they execute and like give the output. So if we okay, we have different types of variable. Some of them, they are like numeric, that can be like integer. Integer, they are like عدد صحيح. Float, they are like عدد عشري. And we have a string that they are like رشته و یا هم رشته از character. For example, in here, if I want to know what is the type of, for example, I can simply use the type function in order to find what is the type of a variable. So if I run it, it shows that the vid variable's type is integer. int, it means like integer, right? And if I have another variable, which is, for example, r, and I write, for example, something like this, remember that in order to write the string, we use double quotation or single quotation. If I want to check the type of my variables and my variable, if I click run, it shows like str. Str means a string. We have another type which is like float. For example, if I write it like this and then write a float or عدد عشري and then type the name of or just want to know the type of our variables, it shows that is float. So also we can reassign a variable to a different type. For example, in here, if I write it like this, I just want to change the value of width in here to, for example, 35.7. If I run it, there is no error, we can reassign our variable. If I call the vet one more time, it generates the float, which is like 35.7, not the one that we defined previously, which is 10, right? So it has the ability to be redefined in our program, so it's possible. So we can like take an input by using the input function. Here's another function for getting or getting an input from the user. We use simply input function in order to get the input from a user. For example, let's consider an example. I just want to have the name of, for example, a person. So I use the input function, and inside the input function, you can write an explanation. For example, what is, for example, your name? What is your name? If I and I can like write the name just in order to see what is the inside of a variable, you have to call them. It is how you can call a variable. Just type its name and click to run. Enter your name. I can write like Sayed, and then press enter. Your name is Sayed. And also I can write another example, which is I can get the person's age. How old are you, for example? If I call my variable, let's run, for example, 33. So it generates the 33 as an input. So I can have another one about, it can be about, for example, let's consider the income, right? Income input. This is how like the input function works. We get some values or for example, value from the user. So the user can like enter a value. For example, what is your income? We can write it like this. What's your income, for example? Notice that like by default, if I want to check the types of, for example, the variables that we defined, or the values that we get from the, for example, user. If I want to check their type, by default they are like a string or a reshta. But we can convert, for example, for example, the input result into integer and float by just writing the int function, which converts the string to integer or adad sahih. Also, I can use the float function in order to convert a string to for example, float. If I rerun it, for example, like this, and if I run the age 33, And if I run the income, for example, 700.5. If I now check the type of the age, it will be int or integer, or rather the Sahih. If I check the type of, for example, age, let's now pick the type of like income. It is float. So in order to change the type of an input, you can simply use the int function. So inside the int function, you can use the input, so it will convert the string to integer. Why is that? Why we have to convert one, for example, one type to another type? Let's consider the name. I cannot perform any like mathematical, for example, I cannot do like any mathematical or arithmetic operation to like string type, but I can do some like mathematical operation to, for example, let me just take the income and multiply it to, for example, 0.50. I just want to find the 50% of like the income. If I rerun it, it generates like 350.25. So it is really important to have to understand the types of variables, so you can perform like different arithmetic and other operations. Okay, so we explain all these about the integer function and the float function, how they work. Also, we have other like mathematical operations. We have floating point like division. We have integer division. So let's see what is the difference between one backslash and two backslash. For example, in here, if I wanna divide the age by 3, if I run it, I will get like 11.3. It is float type, right? If I even store it in a variable, for example, it's called div equal to, and I just wanna know what is the type of div, should generate like float. So I just don't want to like have the float type. I just want my computer or program to generate it in like integer format, or rather the Sahih. فارسی ما مثلا میگیم که راوند آفش بکنه. بناهن ما میتونیم که استفاده کنیم از بکسلش، دو دانه بکسلش وقتی استفاده کنیم و ببینیم که ریزالت چی میباشه. میبینیم که هیچ عدد اشاری دیگه نیست. Okay, type div. I run it, it is now integer. So it is what is the difference between the backslash and two backslash in division. We have other arithmetic functions or operators in our program. For example, we can use the multiplication. Let's just consider the multiplication, or even the addition. For example, I want to have the double of my age. It's like 62. Well, we can do other arithmetic functions, operations in our program. For example, let's consider exponential و هم طاقت 2 to the power of 2. I just want to have like 2 to the power of 2, which is 4. I can use I can do the like exponential or طاقت in our program by using 2 stars. Another like arithmetic function or operator that we can use in our program is reminder. Let me just explain what does it mean. Just have a new one and save it. So in mathematics, you have something in division, something like this. Just like this. We have like 4 in here and 3 in here. If I want to divide 4 to 3, I can just simply divide it only one time, since otherwise it will become bigger and we cannot subtract it. So the remainder will be 1, right? So the percentage operator, it uses in the programming language in order to find the remainder. Let's consider now let's consider this example in our program in our Jupyter notebook. Or in Farsi we say باقی مانده in order to find the بخوایم مثلا باقی مانده رو پیدا بکنیم، ما از علامت percentage و هم فیصدی استفاده میکنیم. It is 1. Same that we solved in this like in our using like mathematics. So let's move on. So we just explained these like terms. Okay. Okay. So in order to add a new line or a horizontal tab, we use these kind of like formats. For example, in order to generate a new line inside our text, we use slash n. Also, in order to generate a horizontal tab is like a smaller space that we use in our, for example, paragraphs while writing a paragraph like of text in our program. Let's just have an example of how they work, how like slash n and slash t works. For example, if we use the print function, hello, yes. I just want to have a new line in here after like the hello guys. I can use the slash n in order to generate a new line. Like what are you doing? Also, I can generate a new tab using slash t. I can have multiple tabs, multiple like new lines in our text, so it doesn't really matter. If I run this this statement, you can see I have a new line in here. It is because of the space, so I can erase the space and then rerun it. As you can see, I have a new line, or I have hello, how are you doing in a new line. And as you can see, it is how the tab works. It just generates a new space. inside at the same, for example, line. You have the tab keyword key inside your like on your keyboard, like this. So we don't discuss the formatting. It's not too much like important. So we are done with this presentation, and we will have another presentation, and it will be a little bit quicker. You have to like consider the indentation in your program. It's really important to like write a clear program, not just like typing everything and just run. You have to follow the instruction, and it is a good example that computer knows what it should do. It should do for you. Otherwise, you will get some errors. Right? You have to follow the instruction and the indentation or spaces that we will cover in the for loop. We have Boolean types. Boolean types, they are like in two formats. The result will be in two formats, which is true and false. It only generates like true and false. And we have like three operations, which is not, and or. For example, we will consider an example later on. And for example, not change a true to false, and vice versa. For example, if you have a true statement, it will generate, it will convert it or change it to a false statement. For and in order to be true, we should have like both statements true. For or, if one of the statements is true, so the program will generate true. It is the table of how like Boolean expression work. For example, if we have like two arguments, like two variables, the first is true, its condition is true, and the second one is also true. So not x means false and not y means false. As we said that it changed true to false and false to true. And if we in AND function, both statements should be true in order to have the AND operation, like or Boolean expression true. For or, if one of the operation is true, for example, let's consider in here, only one operation, one variable in here is true. One statement is true. So by using the or like operation, it will be true. But we say that and like both statements should be true in order to have a result of like true using and. Also, we use relation, relation, for example, operators, which is smaller, bigger, smaller and equal, or bigger and equal, not equal and equal, which we commonly use in order to have the Boolean values. For example, let's consider an example of how like they work. Let's have it in here. For example, I can say 4 is bigger than 5. The result should be false, since 4 is not bigger than like 5. We can have something like this. Hello is equal to. We can like compare the strings as well to, for example, hello. Is it true? No, it's not true, since the H in here is like capital and in here is like lowercase. If I change it to capital letter, So the result should be true. Yeah, like hello is equal to hello. They are the same. This is how like relation operators work. I can use, for example, 5 is bigger and equal to 6. Yeah, let's see. It is false, but if I put like 4, it should be true. Yeah, if I even put 5, it should be true since we have the equal sign in here. So it is how it works. Also, let's consider another example. Like we can say in like relation operators that 6 is not equal to, for example, a 7. It should be true. But remember that in order to say that both sides are equal, we use two equal sign. Also, don't like get confused while we assign a variable. If I put only one statement in here or an equal statement, it means that we are defining a variable. But in this case, we are just doing the like relation operators. So we have to put two equal signs. Also, in order to say that our one side of our, for example, relation operator is not equal to another side, we use the, for example, the not, which is something like this. We use an equal sign with this sign, so it says that 6 is not equal to 7. Or even we can apply it to like a string format. Like I can say hello is not equal to the lower hello word. It should be true since they're not equal, right? So let's see how like a Boolean expression work. For example, I can write it like this. 4 is bigger
Yes,
than
sir.
5.
Sorry, I think there is a problem with the font size of the screen. Some of our participants cannot see that. Can you please zoom in it?
Yeah, is it
Yeah,
visible
thank
now?
you.
No worries.
I think it's good. Yeah, thank
So we
Thank
can,
you.
yeah, no worries. We can use the Boolean expression, which is and or. In this case, we use and. We said that both statements should be true in order to have our program like true. So 4 is bigger than 5, which is not true, and we have another like another statement, which is 5 bigger and equal to 5. This side is true, but this side is not true. So the result will be false. Since we say that only and expression is true when like both sides are like true. If I, for example, consider another example, let me just zoom in. For example, 4 is equal to 4 and, for example, hello is equal to hello. It should be like double equal sign. Let's change it to like bigger and equal. So the result in here should be true since both conditions are true, right? And that is how like Boolean expression works. Let's consider an example for or as well. For example, we can say 4 is not equal to 5, or we can say that on the other side, one statement should be false, which is something like hello is equal to, for example, hello. This statement is false, we know that. we just previously ran the code, and it says that it's false. This statement is not true. Like hello world is not equal to this one, since it's like capital and it's lower. So, but on the other side, 4 is not equal to 5, and it's true. When we run this expression, it gives an like that is true. For or, if one of the statement or one of the conditions is true, then the program will generate true. Otherwise, if like both sides are like false, we will have like the false result. So let's have a look at what we have next. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So conditions, what are they? They're really important in programming. We use often like conditions, even in advanced level. So conditions, they are like called all. They are also called like dastur amal or dastur. For example, let's consider a real life example. This is how you can understand. For example, if I say you that if I say to one of my friends, if the audience has a computer and needs to learn how to install, for example, Jupyter Notebook, send them the link to install the application. It is one condition, right? It is one condition that if it's true, then do this, right? In any case, if the audience cannot install the offline version of like Jupyter Notebook, send them the link to use the online cloud version for Jupyter Notebook. So if the first statement is not true and the second one is true, then come and like send the link to use, for example, online cloud version. Else, if these two like statements are not true, then come and like and explain them or send them the instructions to use like Python compiler on their phones. This is an example that we just like mentioned and explained that in our session. Let's consider an example in 4C. فرض مثال اگر بگوییم که اگر میلاد از سوال کرد که دوچند عدد دوچند می شود، برایش 2 را ضرب 2 کن. و یا اگر ازت سوال کرد که 2 چند عدد 3 چند می شود، برایت 3 را ضرب 2 کن. در غیر آن صورت برایش بگو من نمیدانم. این قسم است که ما بین همدیگه، یعنی انسان ها بین همدیگه کمیونیکیت میکنن و یا هم با همدیگه سخن میگه. ولی اگر ما امیر کپی پیست بکنیم، for example the English version، اگر امیر کپی پیست بکنیم و در همی خود پروگرام ما ایره رن بکنیم، کامپیوتر رو تک چیز نمیفهمه و این یک ساینتکس ایرور میده که مو گراماتیکال لایک ایرور میشه در اینجا. و به خاطر از اینکه ما بخوایم دستورالعمل ها رو و یا هم دستورها رو به خود همی پروگرام و یا هم به کامپیوتر بفهمانیم، با استفاده میکنیم از if condition. if condition و اگه بخوایم که یک کاندیشن دیگام و یا هم یک دستور دیگام اد بکنیم، با استفاده میکنیم از elif. و همیشه وقت بعد از اینکه if می داشته باشیم و یا هم elif می داشته باشیم، ما یک else هم می داشته باشیم که اگر اینا true نبود، بیا بر ما مثلا else پرنت بکن و یا هم عملی کن. اگر من بی اگزامپل بگیرم و کپی پیست کنم، ببینید که کار میکنه یا نه، یا کامپیوتر میفهمه یا خیر. Okay. I have to change some things in here since I just copied and paste, so the computer doesn't know. For example, in this case, I have to change the quotation marks to the actual one. Also, I told you that to consider the indentation. In this case, like after for loop, so the computer will understand that this print function is a part of like the if statement. Like after like writing the if statement, you can write the semicolon or colon, and then write and add a tab in here and write your function. So the program will understand, okay, this function is a part of like if this if condition, right? If I run it, yep. The program says that do you know how to install the Jupyter on your PC, or you cannot install the offline version? I say that the second version, like I cannot install the offline version. So it suggests me to use like Google Cloud for like my my PC, since I'm not able to use the offline version. So it is one of the ways that it suggests. So let's just now we have an idea how it works, and now let's see how an example, and then we will cover like how they work. So as we said, we have, it is fine to use only like if and else statement if you don't want to, like if you don't have any other condition in your for example program. So it is fine if you use the only if and else statement, but it is better to use like if else if elif and else if you have like multiple selection statement. I mean like multiples for example conditions. And if it like if and else is like this, for example, consider the grade. If grade is like bigger and equal to say to 60, then if it's true, then come and like print pass. And if it's not like true, come and say like the student is failed the course, right? This is how like if and else statement work. If, for example, grade is bigger and equal to 60, then print pass, and else come and say that the student has failed the course. If you have elif in addition to like if and else statement, like the program starts and see if the statement, first of all, is see if the statement if a statement is true. Then if it's true, it will generate the for example the instruction. If it's false, it will come to elif statement and see if the elif statement or the first elif statement is true. If it's true, it will generate the instruction. Otherwise, if it's false, it will go to another, for example, elif statement if it exists. So it will, if it's true, so it will generate a new the instruction. If all of these conditions or dastur amal is like are false, so we can just like print the else statement. We will have only one example in this case, and you're free to go. We will stop after like having an example in this case. For example, let's consider a variable in here. Okay. The variable is called like temperature, or let's get the input from the user. We just covered how we can use the input function and how to convert the string format to like float. For example, tell me the temperature. The computer like says to to the user that tell me the temperature. Okay. The temperature. And then if this is how we use the if statement, I mean if condition. If like the temperature is smaller than 40 degrees, then print that nice weather, for example, nice weather. We are having. And we can write another statement, for example, elif, another condition in here. So if the temperature is not smaller than 40, elif the temperature is equal to, for example, bigger than 40, or probably equal to 40, just print that not bad. And at the end, we have the else statement. If these two statements are not true, then print that little, for example, warm or hot, for example. So this is how like the if condition works, and how we can convey our message to our computer. If I run this program, it will first tell me that to enter the temperature. For example, today's temperature is about like 35, and it says that nice weather we are having. Since the temperature is less than like 40, so it generates this statement, or this statement. If I rerun it and enter the temperature to be 40, it will say that not bad. It is also fine if it's like 40 degrees of Celsius. If I enter like 44, the program will generate it's a little bit hot today. So it is how it works, the main concept behind, for example, the if statement and elif statement and else. Also, we can use the nested, for example, if statement, like nested, or like we use one statement, one if condition inside another one. For example, if I say like this, if temperature is 40 and print, for example, and I can use the nested, for example, if statement inside another like if statement, like multiple, for example, if statement. So it is fine to use that. And if temperature is bigger than equal to like 50 degrees, and temperature is, and temperature just is equal to bigger and equal to, for example, 50 degrees, and then print this value. I can add an else statement that print it's cold. So I will write the other, for example, elif statement. And an else statement as well. So if I run this statement, what we will get? Okay. First of all, let me just have another input in here. So the machine or the computer tells me that send me the temperature or tell me what's the temperature. For example, the temperature is like 60 degrees. It just says like this weather. As you can see, it comes to this if statement. As you can see, it says that okay, the temperature is like smaller than 40. It is like 60 degrees. So come and see if the temperature is, for example, bigger and equal to 50 degrees. And this condition is also true, so it only generates at the base weather. Note that the indentation or like spacing, like adding a space in this areas are important. Without that, we will and our program will get like confused. For example, if I like erase all these, for example, statements, there is space. The computer will get confused, like which statement should it run. So it is really important to like follow the instruction and add some indentation so the program knows that okay, this if and else statement are a part of like this like if is the first like if statement. So if I rerun it and like enter like -8, it is called. It will come to the first statement and see it is true that like -8 is like smaller than 40 degrees. And then it comes to the second, for example, if statement or nested if statement, and it see that this one is false since -8 is not equal to and not bigger and equal to like 15 degrees. So it comes and generate the else statement, which is it's called. The same is true about, for example, if I enter like 40 degrees, it will come and see if the 40 degrees is equal is true for the first statement or the first like if statement. It sees that no, like 40 degrees is not like smaller than 40 degrees. So it comes and like see for the elif statement if it's true, and it when it looks at like that 40 degrees is equal to like 40 degrees, it generates that not bad. So when this condition is like false, all nested, for example, condition inside this if statement is false. So the computer does not generate all these, for example, programs. I will stop in this part, and thank you so much for attending. I will try to share some like books and materials in Farsi and in English that you can read, and also some instruction how to like install Jupyter Notebook on your personal computer. But if you want to use the like online version, that's also fine, but it requires like internet access. Other than that, it will not work for you.
Thank you very much, dear instructor Said Mohammad Reza from the American University of Afghanistan for starting the Python course and completing successfully the first session of this course. And thank you from all of you for participating to this course. And in this part of the session, if there is any question, the instructor will answer to your questions.
Yeah, please feel free to. Yeah, the next is like session will be same time on, for example, Saturday.
Yeah, I think we had two questions already before, and they were asking about the syllabus and PDF materials for this course. And I think the instructor will send you the necessary materials for this course. And
Yeah, of
let me
course.
know.
I will like share two books with you guys. The first is in English version, and the second one is in Farsi. So you can like have a look at it, and then uh, like uh, exercise with yourself. So they're really comprehensive books that you can use it.
There is another question from Shuaib Haidari. So let me know if there is any other question. The instructor will answer if there is no question. I'd like to also thank from Dr. Baktash for sharing information about our upcoming Python course. And you can also visit our websites, femtex.com, or our Facebook page for getting a new update and insight regarding our upcoming course. So I think we have new questions.
I think
اجازه است که سوال داشته باشیم؟
بفرمایید.
بسیار تشکر از گرفتن دایر کردن این برنامه. دیگه واقعا یک برنامه بسیار مفید است. صرف یک خواهش ما این است که اگر ریکارد شود این برنامه بسیار خوب خواهد شد. لکچرها اگر ریکارد شود.
درست است. تشکر از سوالتان. ما امکان ریکارد کردن هست. انشالله به جلسه بعدی ریکارد میکنیم. انیتا اوریا، شما سوال دارین؟ So جلسه بعدی هم بله به همین تایم است. هر every Saturday at this 7:30 p.m. Kabul time. So about the link, yes, we will share the link on the WhatsApp group, and then you can easily join for the next session. So if there is not any other questions.
Assalamu alaikum to all of you.
Yeah, yes, please.
Sir, I just want to know that that's the basic of the Python class. So when will we start the real class, like not the basic one?
Yeah, about our upcoming Python course, I think we have just already shared its advertisement on our WhatsApp group and Facebook page. It will be started on 22 of November. And after completing this course, and then immediately we will start our next Python course.
So before the 22 of November, we will continue the basic of the Python.
Of course, we will continue with this course covering the fundamental of the Python, and then by completing this course, we will start our main Python course.
Sir, we have this class twice a week, like Saturday or Sunday?
No, just every Saturday, 1 day per week.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Shoaib Haidari, you asked about the WhatsApp group. It's shared in our Facebook page, and also you can just visit our Facebook page. It's Femtech or our website. Then you can find a QR code for our WhatsApp group, and you can join there. Thank you everyone for your participation. If there is not any other questions, this is the end of the sessions, and I wish you all of the best.